Hello, hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. I am super excited to be doing this episode and ringing in the new year while also reflecting on the past year. So this is going to be my 2024 recap. This is going to be kind of the final episode of what I'm calling like season one, basically. I have done this podcast on and off since 2020, and I'm really feeling called to just give it a new vibe, give it a new energy, kind of all the things as we head into this new year. But I wanted to kind of feel complete in closing out this chapter of 2024 because I feel like a big cycle has kind of just like dusted off almost that really began, I would say, in 2022. And now I really feel like I'm going into 2025 just feeling so at ease and at peace with like who I am and where I'm going. And I feel like there was just a lot of upheaval and chaos and a lot of things that happened. And 2024 really felt like a big exhale. So in today's episode, I'm just going to talk a little bit about, some things that happened this year, my favorites from this year, some lessons learned, and then what I'm really looking forward to in 2025. And like I said, this is going to really cap off kind of this season one of this podcast. Like I finally decided, all right, it's time to cap off. This is going to be episode 69, I believe. So the next episode that we'll have will kick off, season two, and we have some new branding coming, some ideas coming through, guests I want to have and things like that. So I'm very much looking forward to what's to come for this podcast. And I'm really getting settled into this new year of like how I really want to start showing up and all the things. I'm recording this on January 3rd and we're starting to feel into 2025. It feels like a good energy. So I hope that you guys are doing well. You had some good holidays, had a good new year and everything. If you haven't taken the time to sit down and reflect on 2024, you definitely still have time. I've posted, some questions on my Instagram and on YouTube Shorts. I'll put them in the description box for reflecting on your 2024 as well as goal setting for 2025. Literally just 10 questions that you can really dive in and see what you want to kind of remember 2024 for, and then also what you want to call in for 2025. So I'll put those in the description and the show notes for you guys if you want to take some time and like make it a little date for yourself, light a candle, put on some vibey music and really take that time. I think it's super important, and it's I know it can be hard, especially if you had a hard year. You want to avoid looking back on it, but that's how we gain the lessons and the gratitude and the wisdom to then help guide our next year. So don't avoid it. I definitely recommend doing it. And that's what really came up for me as I was really sitting with this past year. I really felt like I could just exhale and like relax after what I had gone through in 2023. 2023 was pretty crazy, going through a breakup and then getting back together with him, then going through another breakup, going through friendship breakups, breaking out in hives, going back to a 9-to-5. And so 2024 really felt just like, okay, I'm kind of like settling into this life again and like being in charge of myself and being in my power again and calling my energy and focus back to myself. And it was kind of asking the question of like, okay, what do I want to cultivate in this year and in my life? My word for the year, which if you don't set a word for the year, I highly recommend it. It really just allows you to kind of like tap into a frequency and an energy for the year. So as you are sitting down and reflecting on the past year and then also setting goals and intentions for the new year, a word might come to you that you really want to focus in on and channel in on for your year. My word for 2024 was balance. And I definitely feel like I was just finding balance in, different areas of my life. I also had invited alcohol back into my life. So I was trying to navigate finding balance with that. I was finding a balance between working a 9-to-5 while also still pursuing, all my side businesses. I was finding a balance between, taking care of myself and then also like having social time and things. So it was definitely a year of finding balance, I feel like. In 2025, I'm super excited for my word because it's the word arrival and like letting myself arrive and letting everyone else know like, hi, I've arrived. There's a song called I've Arrived by Obscure that's so good, and I'm going to put it at the top of my playlist. So if you really want to kind of like channel into a word for your year, I highly recommend it. It's the best. It's one of my favorite practices to do for the new year. And then also you can make a playlist and kind of channel in the energy of what you want to call in. So anytime that you feel like you're off path or you feel lost for the year, you can tap back into that playlist and kind of be reminded of that energy. I'm going to make my playlist this weekend while I'm traveling. I'm super excited about it, just to kind of like find some really vibey songs to put into a playlist and channel that energy that I'm really calling in. But that was my theme for the year, was really balance. And I feel like I was really kind of also tested in that. And I also feel like I did have some challenges this year, but I will say 2023 gave me a run for my money. And I feel like a lot of people felt that way about 2024. And just know, like, if 2024 was a hard year for you, a challenging year for you, you could absolutely have a year where you can just kind of like relax and not be confronted with so many things and be able to enjoy life a little bit more. And I feel like that's exactly what I got, and it's exactly what I deserved after such upheaval and chaos, that I had in 2023. And in 2022, I felt like I went through a lot of mental stuff. I was really drowning and really going through a lot that I wasn't accepting or coming to terms with. And 2023 kind of like brought that all up to the surface, right? And I worked on healing that. And then 2024 continued the healing of that. And that allowed me to then manifest a lot of the things that I had kind of been praying for, So I thought it would be really fun to kind of share, some things that weren't on my bingo card for 2024. And I mean, this bingo card list was basically blank. Like, we really didn't have a whole lot to work with this year because I went through a breakup 6 days into 2024. Like, I genuinely had no clue what this year was going to look like. Like, I really didn't. And it really allowed me to just kind of be open and be curious as to what could happen. And of course, I set the intentions of like the things that I really wanted to grow in. My friendships and relationships was definitely something I was really wanting to focus on. And then also just getting settled in my 9-to-5 and then continuing my coaching business. And that really excited me. I gave myself a little bit of some breathing room with Vibe with Aid in terms of content and collaborations and things like that. So I'm kind of coming back up to start, putting some energy towards that again, because I've been creating content for 7 years. And so I really feel like I really wanted to focus on also my health because I was dealing with chronic hives. And so I really kind of like went into this year of like, I just want to focus on, my health, my friendships and relationships, and cultivating new ones, deepening my current ones. I wanted to really focus on finding that balance again between everything that I was doing and just do a really good job and just really show up for myself. Like, when I really look back at it, it was kind of those core things. And then also have some new experiences, because I was with someone that was pretty limiting in like the things I wanted to do and how I wanted to live my life and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to have some new experiences. I went to some new festivals and things, but regardless, let's get into some of the things that weren't on my bingo card, because again, I had no clue what this year was going to look like. Obviously the first one was the breakup. I was kind of feeling hopeful about it, but going through a breakup a second time again with someone, I was able to kind of feel like, okay, this is complete. This is done. Like, we know this is just not going to work, right? Like, of course we could have love for that person and whatever, but like at the end of the day, it just was not working. And I think I was being a little bit delulu and hopeful about it. And he ended up ending the relationship, and it was for the best, because now I absolutely would not change a thing. And I think it was good on him to recognize that, because I'm one of those people that is just loyal to the end, and he felt like this just wasn't in alignment, and he made that choice. And I was able to kind of like sit with it and be like, yeah, like, this is it. This is complete. We gave it a try. It's not going to work. Okay, let's move on, And in that, I feel like I was able to just like then level up again, because I had this very complete and final feeling about it. But it wasn't on my bingo card. I was feeling hopeful about it, but I wouldn't have it any other way at this point. And it also signaled to me it was time to get rid of that damn couch, because he had now broken my heart twice on that couch. So that was kind of like on my vision board, and I was able to get a new couch. It's this most comfy couch that I absolutely love. And it was on my vision board, this white comfy couch, and I got it from Wayfair. And that wasn't on my bingo card to get that. I was kind of like holding on to that couch. And then around April, I was like, no, it's time to get rid of it. It was around the time of the solar eclipse that I decided to get a new couch. So then we kind of move into the next thing that happened in February was that my car was stolen by the Kia boys. I have a Kia Forte, and it was a Tuesday night. I was just about to fall asleep, and I get banging on the door, and it's the cops at my door telling me that my Kia had been stolen. Mind you, this was like a Tuesday at 9 p.m. I have a whole story time on my YouTube channel if you want to be humored by it. Luckily, the car was found within 24 hours. Did get in an accident while they were trying to get away from the cops. And then the car was in the shop for about a month getting fixed. And so I had a rental car and everything. At first, it was not the vibe. I was like really upset, and I just felt super stressed out. I was like, oh, this is just like another thing I have to deal with. Like, I thought this year was going to be different, blah, blah, blah. But it did teach me how to handle challenges that are thrown my way. And it honestly told me that I was able to like be capable in figuring anything out. And that, you know, this person stole my car, and that was their lesson to be learned on what it means to be stealing cars. And they had to go to juvie, I think, or whatever. But it was some kid, you know, that just stole my car. And I do have a little memory of him and his friend because they wrote the Kia boys on the ceiling above the passenger seat. So I will never forget them. You know, I'm always going to remember them by a little something. I saw that after my car had gotten fixed. So that was really fun. But yeah, I wasn't really prepared for all of that. I had some interesting car things happen this year because also my car was hit by a neighbor in such a way that it like popped off my door handle and like dented it a little bit. And this was on the driver's side. And so then I had to go get that fixed again. That happened over summertime, I want to say. So that happened, which was not on my bingo card, all the car challenges, but I became besties with, you know, Geico and the collision place. And like, you know, I really was reminded that all of my problems have solutions is kind of like a key lesson that I learned, and that I'm capable in figuring these things out. Of course, like, I can be a little bit emotional and reactive, and I can like hold space for those feelings. And then I jump into the mode of like, okay, what am I going to do about it? Whereas a past version of me would have, you know, I would have thrown the whole day away. I would have thrown the whole life away, being like, life sucks, this day sucks, blah, 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 blah. But I've really felt like I was able to learn how to navigate challenges in that. So that was kind of like the two car things that really happened. I also then was like, okay, I'm not going to park my car in like, you know, a congested part of the garage. I'm going to park it a little bit further away, take better care of my car. So it kind of like taught me things like that and just to be a little bit more appreciative of, you know, the car and having transportation. And like, I was just so grateful throughout that time. I was like, wow, I'm so grateful for, you know, that I'm able to have insurance that covers me. I'm so grateful that I could get a rental car. Like, I had all these things that I was just really getting into that energy of gratitude about it and finding the lessons and the gratitude through that, even though it was just a really shitty situation. Also, another thing that happened was my doormat got stolen. Like, butterfly doormat, the cutest butterfly doormat that I found at TJ Maxx got stolen. And I'm in like, I tell my friends this, that like, I'm like Rapunzel locked away in my tower in this apartment. I am in the furthest corner on the top floor of where I live in a building that's tucked away. And I don't even know. I don't know what happened. And honestly, I like was wondering like what happened because it was after a night out. I was like, did I like accidentally do something? Even though I didn't get that drunk, like I was almost like thinking I had like a lapse in memory or something, that I might have drunkenly done something. But like, I was like, no, I was like totally fine. Yes, I was maybe like a little bit tipsy, but I was like, the doormat was definitely here when I came home. And then I like stepped out and I was like, where the heck is my doormat? You know? So at that point, I was just like, take the doormat, you know, take my car, take my doormat, whatever, you know, like by that point, I just like laughed it off, you know, which I think is kind of a good way to approach some things like that. I did not replace the doormat. I'm actually going to be moving in 2025. I'm still staying in Austin, just moving to a different neighborhood. And so I'm going to get a new doormat at that point. I'm kind of putting off purchases like that until I get to the new place. So that was like something that wasn't on my bingo card, and like RIP to that doormat because she was really stinking cute. Moving on to more like like positive things, right? Those were kind of like some things that just weren't on the bingo card, that were some challenges to navigate for sure. But, some positive things from, other challenges that I dealt with. I was able to heal my chronic hives, which was great. That was like a 2023 problem that I wasn't on my bingo card of like getting chronic hives. But in this year, I was able to really heal them. And so now I'm starting to wane off the medication and seeing how my body does. But that's been definitely a whole journey. I think I'll make a YouTube video for that because I know it might help some people in the new year. I'm just kind of waiting till I have more of a timeline and information to really provide people, because I want to give like a little bit longer of an update of things of how I dealt with that. But some other things, I only knew that I was going to be going to Groove Cruise because of, I had those plans set with my ex. But other than that, I had no idea what other festivals I was going to be going to in 2024. And so when we broke up, I kind of just like went in a frenzy and I was like, all right, time to go to all the festivals I want, that's kind of how it felt to me. And so after we broke up, I immediately booked Project Glow because I already knew some friends going. And then I immediately, after Groove Cruise, I booked Lightning in a Bottle with my friend Inna Kay. Those were two festivals I had never been to. And then I booked Regenerate around February and found some people that were wanting to go. And so those were 3 festivals that I got to go to for the first time. Project Glow was really cute. I think it's great for like a first time maybe festival goer. It's great if you live in that area, in the DC area. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'll be back, but I'm really grateful for the experience. And it was super fun to go to with my friend Britta, and had, I got to see Emma and BB and lots of friends there. That was really great. And some of the Groove Cruise fam, which was great. Lightning in a Bottle was probably one of my favorite experiences this year. Also, Groove Cruise was a new experience. I should mention that. That was a new experience. Hosted 2 workshops, which was great. Lightning in a Bottle was also a favorite experience of mine. I'm going to get into favorites and everything. And then Regenerate, also a cute little 2-day festival in Denver, kind of similar to Project Glow, but house music. Again, if I lived in Denver, I would definitely go to it. And also if you're like a newer raver festival goer, it's definitely a great festival to kind of like introduce people into it. I probably wouldn't go back, but had a great time. And then I went to Seismic twice. We had Seismic Light, which was my birthday weekend. And then we had Seismic Fall. Been to almost all of the Seismics except for one that I didn't go to last year, or in 2023. So did both the Seismics. Seismic's always a good time. Did ACL, and then I got to go back to Arc Music Festival, which was really great to go back to. And I already have tickets for 2025. Super excited to go back. I honestly would try to go back to Arc every year if I could. So that's kind of what happened with the 8 festivals. I was supposed to go to 3 Points. I ended up selling my ticket. I don't know. I was considering Proper. And now that I'm seeing the feedback back about Proper, I'm kind of glad I sat that one out. And did Tin Liquor for New Year's, but Proper was on my radar, but I've been hearing a lot of interesting feedback about that one. And that was something that I really found I was doing this year. I really was leaning on my intuition and just like my inner knowing about which festivals to attend or not attend. And this kind of ties in with like what I do as a human design reader, which I definitely need to do a whole episode about here. But I was really utilizing my tools of like my intuition and guidance in like, do I go to this festival, not go to this festival? Even if I felt excited about it at first, if it started to feel like it just wasn't kind of like jiving or working out, then I sold my ticket. And that happened with 3 Points. Like at first I was super pumped about it. And then as it was getting closer, like flights were super expensive, like more than normal to Miami. And then like I wasn't really finding a group to go with. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to sell my ticket. I'm just going to go for Miami Music Week and have my like Miami time then, which I've never done Miami Music Week. So I'm super pumped about that. So yeah, that was kind of like our festival run this year, which was super fun to do. And yeah, also not on my bingo card was hosting 2 workshops on Groove Cruise and being a content creator and getting, a comped room, which was just crazy. Like, I just can't believe this sometimes. And I know that the younger version of Aid would just be like, what the heck? Like, we got a free room, not free. We had to work, but we were able to, compensate our services of hosting 2 workshops and create content for a cruise ship festival. Like, how dope is that? Like, it was so cool to do. I got to do an intention setting workshop and then a vision board workshop. I'm going to be doing that again for Groove Cruise 2025, which is here in a few weeks, which I'm super pumped about. Still going to be doing an intention setting workshop. And then I'm also going to be doing a human design workshop, which is going to be really cool. So that wasn't really on my bingo card, even though I knew what was coming, but I wouldn't say like I knew that was really coming. Hoping to do more workshops this year. We'll see kind of what happens. The other thing on my bingo card was that I manifested more aligned friendships. And this really came quick, honestly. I came back from like, all of my travels from April to June. I traveled a lot, which was really great. But by the time I got back, I was like, okay, I really want to just be settled in Austin. I want to put myself out there. I want to go to more events. I want to meet more people. I've been a content creator for 7 years. I've been in Austin for 7 years. And I still kind of feel almost like an outsider sometimes. And I feel like, yes, I have my big following, but it kind of just spans across the country, And I really just want to be within the Austin culture a little bit more and just be kind of more ingrained in it, in the personal development side, but also the music side of things. I just definitely wanted to just get more connected with people and have more experiences and just things like that. That was really my goal for summer. And I used to have a bigger friend group that I was friends with that was tied to my ex, and that kind of all kind of dissipated and blew up and everything. And I really just wanted to call in some more aligned friendships. And all it took was me going to this one pool party that I only knew one person at. I had met him at a breathwork event earlier in the year in April. And he had been super cool inviting me to other stuff, and it just never worked out. But this pool party worked out. And so I went to this one pool party, and then I met, this group of guys who then had like a group of like people that were just interested in fitness, but also were interested in music. And that group of guys then introduced me to this really amazing group of people that I just really felt so aligned with, and they're just so positive. They're all working on, different projects and things, and they're all passionate about their fitness. And then there's some people, who go to Tomorrowland or other festivals or things like that. And that really made part of my 2024, getting to meet those people. And, they invited me to go to a concourse show with them. And it was at that concourse show that I went to the pregame, and I ended up meeting my now boyfriend. Ta-da! Which obviously wasn't on my bingo card at all. I'm still kind of keeping some of this relationship to myself. I really have been enjoying just kind of keeping it to family and close friends of things. But I met someone. It was 4th of July weekend, and it was because I put myself out there to this one pool party. And that's the crazy thing of it all. And this is why it's so important to just say yes to everything and go to everything. If you're single, whether you're trying to look for a relationship, look for friends, just go and put yourself out there, because you never know what's going to happen. And those guys I met, they've become really good guy friends of mine. And then they introduced me to my now boyfriend, and I also met a lot of girlfriends out of that too. And it's just so crazy. And yeah, maybe I'll share more about how the relationship kind of developed and everything, because it just naturally kind of happened. It wasn't like I met him and we were instantly yes, we're going to date or whatever. It just naturally evolved as it was meant to. And it's been really lovely, and he's really great. And I'll share more about him eventually, but that was not on my 2024 bingo card. Along with the more aligned friendships, I also, aside from that friend group, I also just attracted more aligned people into my life. Whether it was mentors or friends who are on similar wavelengths and journeys and things like that, which I think was just really, really nice to have. And just feeling I'm kind of aligning with people that I am inspired by, right? And feel empowered and supported by, and things like that. I think that's super important to have. And I also deepened friendships with, my current people. Of course, that was on my bingo card. This is what wasn't on my bingo card. And that was kind of really important to me, is just to kind of rebuild my support system and friendships and things like that, after going through such a chaotic period of feeling like I couldn't trust anyone and feeling like I was very vulnerable and feeling like I wanted to hide myself. And, I'm an only child. So like I wanted to just kind of hide myself away from the world, at a certain point towards in 2022, 2023 time, so it's really nice to just kind of like put myself out there and get reflected back the same kind of like love and energy and positivity and everything that I feel like I put out there in the form of my current friendships that I deepened and also new friendships and relationships that I manifested basically. Some other things, talking more like work things. I went viral multiple times this year to the 1 million view level. I had one TikTok and reel that, is at 6 million on TikTok, 31 million on Instagram, which is just crazy numbers to see. I had 2 other 1 million view TikToks, which like views aren't everything, right? But it was kind of crazy to see those numbers and to know that it is possible, right? To hit that virality as someone that's been a content creator for 7 years. It sometimes can feel like you're chugging along, but it was really cool to kind of see that, because it's like now that I've seen that, it's like the evidence, right? The evidence that it is possible. And that is kind of the name of the game. If you are comparing yourself to someone else, don't view it from that way of like jealousy or like, oh, I wish it was them. View it from the point of view of like, oh, I can't wait until that's me. I can't wait till I have my 1 million view post, or I can't wait till I have X amount of followers, or I can't wait to have this type of brand deal or get free festival tickets or things like that. When you can put it in the energy of like, that's so awesome for them, I can't wait for that to happen to me. It puts you into that energy of abundance and it makes you a lot more magnetic in potentially attracting it, rather than the jealousy aspect of like, oh, why did they get that? Why can't I have that? Or why doesn't that happen to me? Or blah, 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 blah. Because now I can see like, oh, it is possible for me. This is so great. Yes, universe, more of this, please. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this. And then it just creates more and more to be created for you and attracted to you and make more of it happen. Another thing that wasn't on my bingo card this year was getting to work for Elro at ARC, which was super fun to do. I had the best time creating content for Elro. That was a really cool opportunity. I got to, take videos and then run their stories for a day on the last day, which was just awesome. And it was really cool to kind of work on that side and do social media content for a brand that I really love, because I absolutely love the Elro brand. And it was a really cool opportunity. And I love doing it and kind of being like behind the scenes of things as well. I also co-hosted my first in-person event with my friend Armando, the Fit Raver. We co-hosted, an intention setting workshop along with a group workout leading up to Better Together. And I've been wanting to create in-person events that bridge, personal development and festivals and all of that. And there's definitely going to be more of that in 2025. And that allowed me to kind of see, once again, it is possible, So that was kind of a wonderful thing that I wanted to make happen by the end of the year. And now that I made it happen, it's like, okay, I know how to plan events. It definitely is something I used to do back when I was in college. I know I'm capable of it. And I have been keeping myself from doing it for whatever reason, right? Fears, limiting beliefs, whatever it may be. But doing that kind of was able to allow me to see, all right, this is how we run a good event. This is what we need to be thinking about, and can be creating more amazing experiences and events and things like that for, my community moving forward in 2025. So I'm super pumped about all of that. And then the last one I did have was obviously the relationship. And it kind of like naturally evolved as I was talking about, the friend group and aligned friendships and things like that I was able to manifest. But yeah, I was not expecting to get into a relationship this year at all, but it was the most wonderful surprise. And it's just been really healing for me. It's been really great, and I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, him and I have a lot of exciting plans for this year. And I can't wait to share kind of more about how this all came to be, but you can definitely tell how I'm like smiling about it and all the things. But yeah, I think it's definitely been really beautiful and wonderful to have in my life. So that's kind of everything in terms of things that weren't on my bingo card, let's move into some of my favorites from this year. All right, kicking it off, favorite festival. It was so hard to narrow this down, but I went through, I went to 8 festivals. So my top 3 favorite festivals of 2024. First one being Groove Cruise. I mean, before this, my favorite festival, one of the top experiences I've ever had was Holy Ship. So I knew Groove Cruise was going to be up there because it is a non-stop party and just so much fun. Getting to host 2 activities and workshops on ship was great. Getting to create content was amazing. I barely slept, because I was just so excited, and there was so many amazing artists and sets and things to capture, and like you get to run into the artists on board, and like, my group and I, we just had so much fun. And there was also so many friends on the ship, fellow content creators, things like that it was just really cool to have that experience. Also, it was a great networking opportunity because there's a lot of industry people on the ship that you can connect with and whatever. So yeah, Groove Cruise was definitely a top experience. It was a great way to start out the year. Following up from that was Lightning in a Bottle. I obviously love Electric Forest, but Lightning in a Bottle has also stolen my heart. I kind of put them around the same spot, but Lightning in a Bottle I'd really been wanting to go to, and so I was super happy to finally go for the first time. And it was an amazing experience, and we did all 4 or 5 days, and it was really cool to just kind of like be playful, silly, inner child kind of like funness. And it was with me and my friend Inake, and it was so great to be with Inake because she had all the camping stuff. She made breakfast for me every day. Like, I felt so pampered and taken care of, which was so nice. But also, like, I really did feel that was a festival experience where I was just reflected back. Kind of all of the love and good energy and all the things that I've always put out there was just kind of like reflected back to me tenfold, which is really validating to have. And it was just a wonderful weekend. It was a couple of weeks after my birthday, so it kind of was like a birthday trip for me, coming of age trip for me, and just feeling really good about where I was at with everything. So that was Lightning in a Bottle. And then ARC is my top festival for the year, the third one, because ARC was just such a fun weekend. Amazing music all weekend long. It was so cool to go back and see all the changes and things. And then, of course, getting to work for Elro and having kind of that experience. And then we did the afters on the second and third night. I got to experience a festival with my best friend Brenda, who we've been friends since I moved to Austin 7 years ago. And so it was really cool to actually do a festival with her. Like, her and I, we've met up at festivals, we've met up at shows, but like to actually go together to a festival. And I was with her friend group, who was just like such a fun group to be with. It was really a great experience. And that was also a really great weekend for my now boyfriend and I. He also is into house music, and so I also had a really great time with him, and we're into a lot of the same music. So that was also a very much like confirmation kind of weekend of us and everything. And I think we'll always kind of like hold ARC in a special place. We're going together to ARC this year. But yeah, ARC was such a fun experience. All the sets were great. I'll get into some of my favorite sets as well. Up next, actually, that's what I had next. So my favorite festival sets, it was so hard to narrow down. I saw so much good music, but my first one is going to be Kyle Walker, Deeper Purpose, Max Styler, and Ranger Trucco. All did a back-to-back on Groove Cruise, and it was just, it's one of those specialty things. You just stumble upon these specialty back-to-backs, and it's special, right? You get to see them all kind of collaborate, interact. That's kind of the magic of festival cruises, just like that, is being able to witness, iconic moments like that. Another really cool back-to-back I saw was James Hype, back-to-back Medusa, Seismic Light. This was a really great back-to-back to witness. I think it was 3 hours, and Medusa even tweeted that they improvised a lot of that set, which I thought was really cool. James Hype and Medusa are both going to be on Groove Cruise this year, so I'm hoping they do a back-to-back, and I will definitely be there. Then we have Rufus Du Sol with a surprise set at Lightning in a Bottle. Also going to mention Maddie O'Neill and Honey Dijon at Lightning in a Bottle. Those sets were also amazing. But this surprise set, of course, we love a good surprise set, right? And it was just vibey, tribal, Afro house, melodic house, like this vibe that like I've never really heard Rufus Du Sol ever take us on. So I'm always going to remember that. And I'm so glad they uploaded that set so I can just kind of go back, listen, and be put back into lightning in a bottle. When it comes to Regenerate, I loved Gorgon City and Eric Prydz. Gorgon City, I mean, their whole theme is like a Greek theme, and they were at this Greek theater stage, and it was just iconic, and it was such a good Gorgon City set. It was very healing for me. It was really an amazing set. Then Eric Prydz played a set like I've never seen him play before at Regenerate. He went dark, intimate, vibes, techno. It was just immaculate, honestly, is the best way of putting it. So that also made it into my top ranks. Going into ARC, this was super hard, but I narrowed it down to Chase West, back-to-back Beltran at the Elro tent on the second day. And then also like honorable mentions, Golfos, Martinez Brothers on the second day. And then on the last day, Carl Cox, back-to-back Green Velvet, which we all know, history was made. It was iconic, like no notes. I listened back to it on Apple Music. So good. And then finally for Seismic, I narrowed it down to Max Styler, the GOAT. I love him. Big year for Max Styler. He's going to have an even bigger 2025. We love Max Styler over here. Is my rave light going off? It is going off. Let's see if it stops. Okay, we're good. Moving into my favorite shows. Again, saw so many amazing shows this year. I was able to narrow it down to 5. The first one is Def Austin, which if you haven't heard of who Def is, they're kind of like a collective. They're based out of Atlanta. It's Define Everything Future is what it's called. And they did a takeover during South by Southwest weekend at Kingdom. And it was like Miha, Habstract, Talking New Light. I really enjoyed that show. And I also really do love Kingdom. Let me turn off this light, you guys. Sorry. So yeah, I really love that show, like really great acts and, production. They did like a boiler room setup, which was really cool. Speaking of boiler room setup, we had Sammy Vergie at the Concourse Project over summer in a boiler room setup, and that was such a fun set to go to. I really do love Sammy Vergie. Mal P had a really amazing open to close set at Concourse, and we were there locked in. I want to say it was 4 or 5 hours and like absolutely killed it. Dom Dalla played an afters at Emos. That was fire. Absolutely love that. I hadn't seen Dom Dalla in a while, and his set at ACL and at Emos was just incredible. And then finally, we have Chase West at the Cut. I'm definitely turning into like a minimal girly, you guys. Really love Chase West. That was a good time at the Cut. So yeah, I also really love the new Cut this year. That was definitely like a vibe and so much fun. And I already have tickets to the Cut in February for Ben Sterling. In terms of, let's see what else we had. I had my Spotify Wrapped. Let me pull that up again because I didn't do like a separate kind of video for that. But my Spotify Wrapped, just so we're all aware, my top artists, which is kind of interesting. Like when I listen to Spotify, this is like my airplane music, my driving music, whatever. So I kind of just like lean on different artists. But number 1 is Fred again. Number 2 was Lane 8. Shocking. Number 3 was John Summit. Number 4 was Gorgon City. And number 5 was Rufus Du Sol. The interesting thing about all of these artists is that they all came out with albums this year, which I really like enjoyed. I probably enjoyed Gorgon City and Rufus's albums the most out of this group, but I thought that was kind of interesting. My top songs. The first one is Mr. Useless, which is definitely a breakup healing song. I know I played that a lot earlier this year. How You Feel by Another. Absolutely love that song. That was like my summertime vibe. No Captain by Lane 8 is like my comfort song, so that's not a surprise to me. Paradise is like this melodic Layouth song, also kind of like a breakup song. And then How It Feels, Barry Can't Swim, also kind of like a breakup song. I'm very interested to see what my 2025 Wrapped is going to look like, because it's probably going to give like, a little bit more lover girl energy, but probably will also give like, I'm giving this like bad bitch kind of energy. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting where that kind of lands. I also wanted to mention some other favorites outside of like my Spotify Wrap. So also I really enjoyed Azeka this year. I enjoyed Chris Stussy, Prospa, Salute, Max Styler, Carlita, Pretty Girl, like all those kind of vibes I really enjoyed. I definitely feel like my music taste is shifting just a little bit as to what I've been enjoying. So I'm curious what I'm curious what I'm going to be leaning more towards, like what my Spotify rap will look like, or even like SoundCloud or whatever. I do listen to a lot of sets and mixes and things like that. But I'm curious to see what all those artists are going to do in 2025. I think they're all going to have really good years. Shifting into favorite festival clothing brand, I really wanted to highlight Suspects this year. This was the outfit I wore to ARC on day 1 and my Seismic day 3 outfit. Really love her stuff. I felt like I was wearing her stuff, a lot this year. I also wore a lot of Rave With Me Gente, but Suspect was kind of like my new favorite find, and wearing her fits I really love. They're super comfortable, and yeah, they're just kind of different, which I really enjoyed, because I'm not the type to wear kind of like the 2-piece rave set really anymore. I like to kind of like build outfits or find cute sets and things like that. So I really enjoyed her. My favorite lunchbox product this year, because you guys know I love lunchbox, is the mini pack. I absolutely love the mini pack. That definitely took my heart this year. I wore it to like every festival. And then my earplugs brand always go to is Zound earplugs. That hasn't changed at all. And then kind of shifting into like some non-festival favorites or non-music favorites. I read the ACOTAR series this year, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I don't know why that's so hard to say. I read the whole book series this year. I did not read as many books as I typically do. I read 10 books this year because those took a lot of time. But I really did enjoy that series. I did start the next series, Throne of Glass. So I'm super excited about that one, and I'm going to get into that one. Favorite movie I saw, Wicked. If you guys didn't know, I'm a huge choir nerd growing up, and I have been, always will be. And Wicked was one of my favorite musicals I saw growing up. So I was super pumped to finally see the first Wicked. I'm super excited for part 2 to come out. It was so well done. I can't wait to go see it again. But yeah, definitely enjoyed Wicked. Also, like, I guess favorite non-electronic music artist that I was like really listening to was Billie Eilish. Like, I loved her new album that she came out with this year, but I also was listening to Charlie XCX, Sabrina Carpenter, Chappell Roan, like all those girlies I was like really enjoying this year. I also included like a favorite era, which was like summer in Austin was just so much fun this summer. And it's also something I'm like considering of like my summer plans is like just being in Austin and having a great time. Of course there might be like some little trips and travel in between, but really enjoyed that. Some other favorites this year, I doubled down on my reality TV, like Love Island, Peacock, watching Bravo shows, Netflix reality stuff, like if I'm not working or like doing stuff, like I'm watching reality TV, or I'm watching like podcasts. Like I really love Jake Shane's podcast, Therapist. I was watching that a lot. I actually have Alex Earl's podcast up right now. I was watching her astrology episode. So those were kind of the ones I was listening to, but other podcasts I was listening to, my friend Maddie Maple, Breaking Butterfly, my friend Kristen, she has Alignment Academy podcast, like more of the spiritual stuff I was kind of listening to. I've kind of given myself a little bit of a break from like the personal development content for a little bit, but now I'm kind of feeling like, okay, like let's get back into it. 'Cause I have really taught myself a lot, and it has all served me well in the past couple of years, and I kind of needed a break from taking in so much content and educational tips and all that kind of stuff. But now I'm like, okay, I feel this up leveling that I'm in the middle of, this quantum leap kind of thing that I'm in the middle of. So I'm feeling that pull to kind of get back into listening to some of that content again. Some other favorites more on the like spiritual side, like I got very much into astrology, human design, gene keys, all of those tools I really found supportive in just providing guidance and things. And maybe I'll do more episodes around that in the new year, because I do find it to be very helpful in just learning more about yourself and just really getting that guidance and validation and support as you continue to like move forward. I also had a very big year going to spin. I did like 20 something spin classes this year, which is the most I've ever done in a year. I've done spin on and off since 2017, but I kind of found my home studio at Love Cycling Studio here in Austin. They have a headbangers only spin class where you literally can listen to dubstep. I know it's so surprising I go to that class, but hear me out. it's the best way to release your anger and just release energy. So that was really cool. Kind of thing that I did this year was kind of doing that. And I'm excited to continue going to spin. I really love that kind of healthy habit I built. Okay, that's kind of like a little bit round out of the favorites. Let's wrap up with just like some lessons and what I'm looking forward to in 2025. Of course, I've been kind of like sprinkling in some lessons throughout this, but the first one is really like choosing yourself is a practice and a habit that you have to consistently reinforce. And what does it mean to choose yourself? It really is choosing yourself and making yourself the priority. You know I got into a relationship this year. But I, even earlier in the year, you know, I was getting asked out on dates, and I even, you know, went on 2 first dates, and one of them, you know, was kind of moving in the direction of maybe going on more dates. And I kind of was like, you know what, I'm just not in a place right now, you know, super early in 2024. And that was a moment of choosing myself, right? Like I had literally the opportunity to maybe like pursue something with someone, get into a relationship right away, to like kind of hide away from the healing I was doing, right? And I decided to choose myself in that moment. And also, you know, there was some other kind of like friend dynamics and things that happened this year where I chose myself, you know? And so I really leaned into that and just choosing myself again and again and again. And the more you do that, the more you continue to do that, because that's something that I'm now seeing in being in a relationship again, is continuing to choose myself while also thinking about my partner as well and how I want to show up for him and experience life with him and all those things. But I still need to continue to choose myself and put myself first as well, which I think is super important to kind of maintain when you're in a relationship. So it's definitely something that was hard, right? Because I'm used to always going the extra mile for someone else or always putting other people before myself. And it was good to really put myself first this year. It was the year of aid, and it definitely was the year of aid. My second lesson was sometimes you just have to leave people where they are. And what that really means is sometimes people are not on the same journey as you, the same wavelength as you. They might not have confronted the same things as you or healed the same things as you. And maybe they're in the midst of that, or maybe they'll never do that. And sometimes you kind of just have to let them be and leave them where they are. It's not that you necessarily have to step away from them and leave them and abandon them or whatever, but you also could just kind of have to be mindful of that if they're giving you weird energy, or they're not, you know, giving you the same energy kind of back, or they also cross your boundaries or do something that is not in alignment with what you value, right? It's okay to kind of like leave them where they are. And there's no tea, there's no shade, there's no hate, there's nothing else with that, but just, again, choosing yourself and letting them do what they do, right? And that's just sometimes what you got to do. My third one is trust where you are being led. And I kind of mentioned that this was a big year for my intuition and really trusting it and really leaning into it and just trusting I'm being led to something for a certain reason, or I'm experiencing something for a certain reason and I might not know why. And it's kind of one of those things where I would get the answer or something would happen and it's like, oh, like, this is why I needed to do this, because then X, Y, it's like the red line connecting all the dots, right? And we might not have that picture yet, but it's like when you do get that picture or you do get that confirmation, it's like, oh, this is what I was being prepared for, you know, or this is why I faced this thing so that I could then do this, right? And so sometimes you just kind of have to trust God, trust the universe, trust whatever you believe in. I know it can be a little bit of a topic about what we have faith in or whatever, but even then, even have faith in yourself and what you're capable of doing. But I really do feel like I'm very much in tune with my intuition, but also with God and the universe of like, okay, here's how life is kind of unfolding, and letting go of control and just being more in flow was definitely helpful for me. Number 4 is the final one. I wanted to just do 4 lessons from 2024. It's really true that when you are being authentically yourself, everything falls into place. There was a time in 2022 and 2023 where I was molding myself to portray a certain version of me online as a coach. I wanted to portray myself in a certain way that just wasn't really me. I was trying to be. I also was shifting and molding myself in my previous relationship to meet whatever idea he had in his head and to make him happy, right? And sacrifice parts of me and things that were important to me, things that I valued for the sake of the relationship. And really stepping into this year of aid and just being myself and owning that. Also, this came with like my sobriety journey. Obviously, I broke that because with my alcohol-free journey, right? That all helped with like me being like, this is who I am, like take it or leave it, you know? And I really felt that this year, that I really owned, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is what I'm doing. Take it or leave it, right? Whether it's online, and, you know, when it comes to gaining followers, losing followers, whatever is right for that person, I'm so happy for them. If they decide my content's not for them and they want to unfollow, great. If someone sees my page and they get lit up and excited about it, great. Either way, it's great, you know? And same thing with meeting friends or, you know, I didn't dabble into dating too much, but like, had it been like that, you know, I would have been like, this is who I am, kind of take it or leave it, right? And it really, the world really does open up for you when you are being yourself and you are really owning that. It just creates this magnetism that just attracts more and more to you. And also really acknowledging like what you're capable of and what you're confident about yourself in and your strengths and your qualities and your values. Like when you can really be so firm on those things, and not from a cocky way or an egotistical way, but just know those things about yourself, it just attracts more of those things, and it allows you to just like magnetize it and call it in and really manifest it. And I really do feel like because I did those things this year of just really owning myself and showing up and putting myself out there as like, this is who I am kind of thing, it's how I got new friendships and relationships. It's how I deepened my current friendships and relationships. It's how I was able to grow in my career and get certain things at my job, which was really great, of just, you know, things that I was rewarded for or awarded or whatever, right? And then also in terms of getting new coaching clients or opportunities with Vibe with Aid with content, that was all because I was like putting myself out there, right? And showing my capabilities and saying, you know, these are the things I can help you with or do or whatever, and showcasing that work. And had I continued to stay hidden, or had I continued to be the molded person or version of myself or wear that mask, the light would have just continued to dim and dim and dim. That's how I was feeling beginning of 2023. The light was so dim and I was so hidden, and I felt like if we were to talk about chakras, right, like a chakra system, like I felt like everything was blocked. Like my throat chakra was blocked, the sacral was blocked, the heart was blocked, like everything was just blocked. And like the moment that I just like shed all of that and just decided, you know what, I am who I am. I have this amazing heart. I'm a good person. I'm smart. I am capable. I'm creative. Like I am all these amazing things. Like why wouldn't I want to be myself? It was just like everything just started locking into place, and the universe was like, all right, finally, like time to work our things on the back end and get these clients ready for aid, and, you know, get these people in line and all these opportunities for her and whatever. And like, things just unfolded. And I think that was the beauty of 2024, was just kind of allowing the year to unfold and life to unfold, and allowing me to be curious and be surprised and be not in so control for once. And it was a really beautiful year to have after, like I said, this dark period that I went through in 2022 and 2023. And it just like, it is that exhale that I so desperately needed. Anyway, to round out, what I'm really looking forward to in 2025, I think I'm going to do a bigger debrief in the first episode of season 2 of Let's Vibe podcast to come. But I'm really looking forward to, I'm going to St. Lucia on a vacation with my boyfriend. Yee! I don't know if I said his name. His name is Andrew. And I am going to Groove Cruise later this month, which I'm super excited about. I'm going to be moving to a different neighborhood in Austin. We have Miami Music Week plans. We have Coachella Weekend 1 plans. I'm going to be turning 30 this year. Gonna go back to ARC. That's kind of like the rough events of things. But I'm also just really excited to continue allowing myself to be surprised by life and continuing to just do the best I can and continuing to grow and evolve as myself and continue to grow professionally and in my careers and in my creativity and really just putting myself out there even more and really kind of pushing the envelope. That's why my year 2025 is named like Arrival, because I've arrived, you guys. Like, hi, hello, we're here. I went through this period and now it's like I'm more me than I've ever felt. And to round this out, we're bringing back the affirmation cards, the card pulls that I haven't done in so long. I'm going to pull an affirmation card. My best friend Emma Capotis gave me this Taurus Zodiac affirmation deck. I know you guys are not all Tauruses, but I'm a Taurus, so we're going to pick that. And then I also have this deck from the Cosmic RX, a note from your higher self. And so I am going to pull a card, affirmation card first. And this is going to be the vibe for 2025 that I'm calling in for the Vibey family, because I'm sure it's going to resonate. So let's see what comes through. Affirmation for 2025, the energy, the vibes that we're feeling into for the Vibey family. Ooh, my personality is warm and loving. My personality is warm and loving. That is a vibe that we're kind of channeling. Let's also do a butterfly affirmation too, because these ones also can be good. We'll get a little bit more here. Today, I choose hope. This year, for 2025, I choose hope. So, for 2025, our personalities are warm and loving, and we are also choosing hope. And then what does higher self have to say? Note from your higher self says, oh, literally, you guys, that came out so quick. Higher self, whoa. Higher self tells us in 2025, just in case you didn't know, you have some major blessings coming your way. Just in case you didn't know, you have some major blessings coming your way. Period. Yes, universe, more of this, please. We are so grateful for it. And I am so grateful for you guys. And I just really want to emphasize, if 2024 was not your year, right? 2024 was a tough year, a challenging year. I share all of this from my past year and my perspective from years before, that so that you know it can get better and life can still continue to be beautiful no matter what season or storm that you are currently in. It can get better. And sometimes you just got to hold on, embrace yourself and just get through it and do the best you can to show up every single day for yourself. I know it can be hard because you go online and you see people with these perfect lives or perfect routines or like whatever. And like at the end of the day, just bring it back to you. What can you do for yourself today? Just today. Just get through this day. I think that's one of the things that going through the breakups taught me is like, just focus on today. And really try to do what you can to take care of yourself today, to enjoy today, to find the gratitude in today, because like it still is really so special to be alive, even though we are going through some really weird and challenging times. There is literally only one of you ever to be seen. And I think there's some magic in that. And I think we all have a role to play here. And I think we all have a message to share. I think we're all here to help one another and to just like make sense of this all and to love one another and all the things. And I hope that you can do what you can to get through today, because we need you and we all need each other, right? To get through this crazy life that we all live. So that's my little TED Talk soapbox moment. I'm sending you so much love, good vibes, and energy for your 2025. And I'm so excited for what's to come for this podcast with all my content, all the things. So make sure you're plugged in, staying tuned for what's to come for the Vibey fam. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for continuing to be here through all the things I went through. So I'm going to tune into when I want to release the first episode of the new season, but stay tuned. We're going to have a new vibe, new energy, all the things. It might happen before Groove Cruise or it might happen after Groove Cruise. We're going to see what feels right. But I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are tuning in from. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, all the things. I love you guys so, so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and vibing with me. And I will see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to stay vibey, vibey fam. Bye.